Thank you very much, sir, for giving me the opportunity. And in fact, I would like to start by giving my thanks to all the speakers who have participated in this important bill. And right from Syed Nasir Hussain ji, Raghav Chadda ji, Shambhu Patel ji, Sagarika Ghosh ji, Kanimoy ji, Ghanshyam Tiwari ji, Ramji Lal Suman ji, Niranjan Reddy ji, Shri Brijlal ji, Sulata Dev ji, HD, former Prime Minister who is also here, HD Devegowda ji, Fauzia Khan ji, Santosh Kumar ji, Bhim Singh ji, Haris Biran ji, Geeta Chandra Prabha ji, A. Rahim ji, Parmal Salam Singh ji, Mission Ranjan Das ji, Ramchandra Jangra ji, Ajit Madhavrao ji, Priyanka Chaturvedi ji and Sushmita Dev ji. And I thank each and everyone who has heartfully participated in this debate. And through this debate, many suggestions which are very, very important for us as a ministry to know. Some of the feedback is very, very important for us to know that has come through all the speakers. And some have maybe crossed the line a little bit and used this debate for their own political purposes. I would not delve too deep into that because that is something the opposition, it has a right to do it and it keeps doing it all the time. But I'll keep the debate very positive and I'd like to comment on all the important suggestions that have come in. And I would like to start also by addressing the elephant in the room, which is about the name of the act, Bharatiya Vayuyan Vidheyak. I also understand that it might be a little difficult thing to pronounce for a lot of people. गले में अटकता होगा ये, पर कोई शर्मिंदा की बात नहीं है इसमें. कोई ये ऐसे वो शर्मिंदा होने की कोई बात नहीं है. This is something you have to know the intention with which the government has put this name. That is ये है कि भारत की जो विरासत है, संस्कृति है, जो पहचान है, उसको दिखाने की, दर्शाने की एक प्रयत्न ये 3 वर्ड अभी रखने की है. इसमें कोई कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल वायलेशन कहीं पे भी नहीं है. जो भी आर्टिकल्स मेंशन किए गए हैं, उसका कोई भी कहीं पे भी उसका ऑपोजिशन या कुछ किया नहीं है. One of them is Article 348(1) has been mentioned, which is about the authoritative text. That is definitely in English, it is there. And also the bill is, it's been mentioned about Article 120, but that also there is no violation about it. And the official language act also, it is in accordance with it. So there is no point of constitution, but there might be a feeling that something has been imposed. And I also am a very proud Telugu person. I speak Telugu language, I write Telugu language, and I am proud of my culture and my upbringing. So, you might be questioning, you are a Telugu person, how can you allow this kind of this thing? अरे हमारे तेलुगु में भी भारत तो भारत ही बोलते हैं. Vayu is also a Telugu word. So Bharatiya Vayuyan Vidheyak becomes half Telugu for me also. So it is a mixture of all the languages here. It is like everyone coming together, we want to this thing. With the colonialization, there has been a small cocoon that has been developed. And it is, let me reply, sir, I have carefully listened to each and every one. No matter what the allegation is, whatever the suggestion is, I have listened to each and every one, and I'll address the chair. So when this whole colonialization happened, we were created like a cocoon. Now, under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, we want to break that cocoon and bring the butterfly out and show the colors of true India, and that is what we are doing here. And this name is a small indication towards it. The text is there in English, so there shouldn't be any problem for any English-speaking person to, in fact, get afraid that there are 3 words here. कभी तो अभी लगेगा कि कॉपरनिकस लेन है यहाँ पे, किसी के गली में अटकता है तो बदल दे क्या उसको? कॉपरनिकस लेन तो है ही. And my name is Kinjarapu Ram Mohan Naidu. And when some people say Kinjarapu, there might be some problem with them. They can't pronounce it the way I pronounce it. But that doesn't mean that I'll change my name so that it becomes easier for them. ये तो मेरी पहचान है. और उसी तरह अभी शायद ये 2 बार बोलने से 3 बार बोलने से थोड़ा मुश्किल होता होगा. But India has gotten used to so many things, sir. I think they will get used to this one also. Bharatiya Vayuyan Vidheyak is just to create the identity of the languages. On top of that I've seen, you are mentioning about other languages also. I was not understanding why Hindi was brought in. Vayuyan is also a Sanskrit word, in fact. And if you really want to appreciate the languages, the culture of this country, I would like the opposition to also appreciate that on 3rd October of this year, the cabinet has made 5 languages as classical languages, which are Marathi, Assamese, Bengali, Pali, and Prakrit. If you really love the languages, you should appreciate the decision of the government. and how much this NDA government protects and promotes the languages of India. We recently celebrated the Constitution Day also, and on that day, we have proudly released the Constitution not only in English and Hindi, but we have done it in Sanskrit and Maithili also. So you see that there is a whole conscious effort that all the languages should be given their importance, all the languages should be protected, and all the languages should be promoted. I think this is one point that I wanted to make regarding the language debate that has been going on, sir. And on top of that, Udan. I have already given the numbers during my opening speech also on how the numbers have doubled, in fact, from 2014 to 2024. Now we have gone through the numbers. We have seen all the airports coming up. We have seen the lot of passenger traffic being increased. Sometimes when we go through it, when it becomes a normality, we kind of feel that it is just a regular thing that has been happening. But if you have to compare it with the other developing countries or developed countries, then you would see that how doubling a number in 10 years is very, very difficult, sir. And that is something which has been a challenge for India also. And that challenge has been successfully addressed, and we have doubled the number of airports, doubled the number of passenger traffic that we have, and doubled the number of aircraft fleet. But for us, I can proudly say, under the leadership of Modi ji, aviation is not just looked upon as how many. I also agree to a certain point that it's not about just the numbers. Numbers I'm giving to show you a picture on how much progress we have made. But if you look at the true sense on why we want to promote aviation, why we want to make it one of the best sectors in the country, in the whole world, because when we talk about aviation, we talk about tourism. When we talk about aviation, we talk about economic activity. When we talk about aviation, we talk about real estate growth. We talk about job creation. When we talk about aviation, we talk about industry. When we talk about aviation, we talk about commerce. We talk about trade. And we talk about aviation, we talk about culture. And when we talk about aviation, we talk about agriculture also. And that is why aviation is a very important nodal sector that needs to be given that push. And with this idea, I'll get some water, sir.
Please.
And it is with this idea that the whole aviation sector has been thoroughly, deeply understood on what the true potential India can have. And we have seen that there are multiple gaps also. Now 90,000 crores capex has been put into the infrastructure to create the infrastructure in airport infrastructure. But creating infrastructure, that itself is one challenge. And when I took the charge as a minister for this aviation, sir, I have promised the people of this country that, thank you. Thank you. She has always been so caring, sir. Like a mother, always. Thank you, ma'am. So, when we look deep, it is not about just creating the infrastructure, but it is about connecting them also. Now, you can spend a lot of money, you can create the infrastructure, you can create more airports, but the ultimate challenge, thank you. The ultimate challenge is how do you connect? And that is where, bringing in all the aspects of the government, we created the Udan scheme, which is Uday Desh Ka Aam Nagrik. Through the Udan scheme, the challenge of these airlines, because it is a market-driven industry, where they feel there might be a non-viability in running a route, the government has taken the responsibility a little bit on himself, and it has said that why don't we provide the viability gap funding? It was the first time that it has been done at such a large scale. And through the Udan scheme, now we have started 609 routes in the country in just 8 years span of time. Nowhere in the world you would have seen such a scheme, which has been run by the government itself, so that the non-viable routes, the airlines can come and start the routes and facilitating the routes. And we have operationalized 86 airports under Udan. And out of these 86 airports, 20 were underserved, but 66 airports were totally unserved. What I mean by unserved is that not a single flight was going to these airports. But that was a challenge the government has taken up. Now we have constructed the airports, but we have to start the airline connectivity also. And through the Udan scheme, we have given the viability gap funding, and we were able to run all these airports. We were giving them those connections, which was very, very required for the people of that state or of that region or of the airport. And we have operationalized 86. And we can proudly say that Udan has been a real success story of the Indian aviation, which are showcasing to the whole world under the leadership of Narendra Modi ji. And why I say the whole world, sir? In fact, in September, we have had one conference also, Asia Pacific Ministerial Conference, where 41 countries were participating, and there were stakeholders from aviation across the globe also who were participating. And 29 countries have sent in the best of the people who represent aviation from their countries. And I have heard all of them speak in that conference, and they have proudly said, the real thing that we can pick up from India today is how it has improved the domestic connectivity within the country, and how it has launched the RCS Udan scheme so that it could facilitate the regional aviation in a very big way. Because for them, most of the countries, sir, for them, the aviation becomes more of an international affair. How do you connect your country better to another country? But a lot of them couldn't crack the challenge of internal connectivity. But now with this Udan scheme, we are showcasing it to the world that a little push, a little commitment from the government, you can create wonders, and that is what we have done through the Udan scheme. And now through the Udan scheme, we have kind of addressed the accessibility. Now the other thing that I mentioned after taking charge as a minister was that I want to bring in affordability also. And I understand all the concerns that each and every member has raised regarding the airfares. I am also a citizen of this country, and I was also a member, and before member I was also a passenger. So I know one of the challenges that the people of this country face when they're traveling, and I understand the true spirit in which people would have spoken about the airfares also. But you have to understand that airfares regulation is, this debate has been there for quite some time, sir, and internationally also the process that they follow is they keep the aviation air ticket mechanism as a very deregulated sector, because that is how the whole sector moves forward. That is how there is a win-win situation for everyone. The market plays its game, and everyone gets facilitated in the process, and this is an international procedure. Nowhere in the world, any country has been regulating the air prices and seeing a progress in aviation. Everyone has a very deregulated sector only. And in fact, in our country also, at one point of time, there was a regulation on the airfares through the Air Corporations Act. Now, when was this Air Corporations Act taken out? It was in the year 1994 that the then government, that the then leaders thought, if the aviation needs a real push, then we have to deregulate, and that is when the deregulation happened. In 1994, the Air Corporations Act was taken away, in which it was mentioned that air caps need to be capped. So after that, it has been a free market. It has been a market with a dynamic airfare mechanism happening. And now, if you see, I have another report also, because many reports have mentioned, and we have done. I have also been thoroughly studying on the airfare mechanism. And we within the ministry, I would like to tell the whole House and the people of this country that from the ministry, we also monitor the prices. We have a tariff monitoring unit under our DGCA, which thoroughly looks after each and every fare that is happening in the country. And there is a liability on the airlines also. Before they decide on a price for a certain route or for a certain sector, they have to send it to us in the DGCA. Now, there was a circular before in 2010, when this price mechanism had to be sent to the ministry, and they were given a 1 month time period. That if for the next month, what are you going to charge? On the first day of this month, you have to tell the ministry itself that how much you are going to charge for, okay, so many seats in this bucket, so many seats in this bucket. It is a mechanism that they follow. But in that very circular, which was released in 2010, there was also a condition saying that within 24 hours, you can change the prices again. That seemed to be a little bit favoring to the airlines, or favoring to dynamically change at a much faster pace. Now, we in this government, we are committed to bring the affordability factor. Now we wanted to see how best we can do. So we are removing that clause. We are just keeping it for 1 month. So whatever fare is there, within 1 month, they have to address it to us. And we feel this kind of mechanism is going to address a little bit about the irregularities that we see in the airfares. Now, airfares, many of the members have spoken. And also one other thing I have to mention is that when the airfares, the biggest chunk of the airfare goes to the fuel price. And for the fuel price, I don't know how many people know or not, but these are the fuel prices, the taxes on that. The VAT on the fuel price is being decided by the states itself. And we, from the ministry, proactively trying to address this air price issue, we have constantly written to all the states, and some states have obliged. Some states realize that even if we reduce the VAT, some have done it to the 1% also, and they've kept it below 4%. And when they have done this, it is ultimately going to, even if they lose a little bit of revenue from this taxing, they're ultimately going to promote the aviation. So it is going to be a win-win situation and a lot of people done. But West Bengal, Delhi, these are states, Tamil Nadu, these are states which carry very high VAT percentage. So people from these states who would have raised about this air prices issue, I would once again make a very proactive approach to all of you that you speak to the state governments there. And if you can get the VAT reduced in that, that is going to reduce the price, because 45% of the price of the ticket is because of the fuel prices. So if you cut down on the VAT there, then definitely it is going to bring down the prices furthermore. So that is one request that I would want to make to all the MPs who represent the states, and they could speak to the state governments. And like I've said, the tariff monitoring unit is there. One key observation that we have found about this 24 hours, we want to change, we want to move into that direction. And we are comparing all the air prices of last year, previous year, because we also want to find a trend. Now, air prices, because it is a market-oriented system, whenever you see a festival, or whenever you see some kind of huge event happening in a certain region, or whenever there seems to be a huge inflow and outflow of passengers because of some activity that is happening there, then definitely the market seems to push it, the demand increases, and suddenly because of the demand, the prices also try to creep up. So we have tried to observe, because in Lok Sabha, when I was presenting this bill, this issue has been flagged over there also. And in fact, our Honorable Speaker of the House, he has also mentioned and suggested that we should speak with the airlines and do it. And we have done that also in the month of August. We have sat down with the airlines. We have sensitized them about this problem, that this is not a government problem or anything, it is a people's problem. It has been raised in the House, and our Honorable Speaker has also mentioned about it. So according to that, we have met the airlines, we have sensitized them, and then after the season, the Diwali season has been done, we have observed that in the previous Diwali, 2023, 2 days prior to the Diwali season and now 2 days prior to this, the major sectors between the metros and the major connectivity points where huge traffic flows, the prices have reduced from 2% to the tune of 42%. This is something just by proactively reacting to the suggestions that you have given and interacting with the airlines and sensitizing that, we'll be thoroughly monitoring the air prices. And if there is anything, because we all have the rules right now, that if anything happens out of the rules, then we can penalize them also. So we are making the tariff monitoring unit system more and more robust, so that they can't act according to their whims and fancies and they feel like they're in a closed room and they can do whatever they want. We are keeping a watchful eye on them, and we are moving one step at a time. And we want to ensure that जो हवाई चप्पल से हवाई जहाज का सफर जो है वो अभी तक आधा तो सच हो गया है, और पूरी तरह से इसमें और लोगों को शामिल करने का जो ये है वो आगे करते रहेंगे, और ये हमारे वादा है सरकार की तरफ से. And on top of this, airfares, there was also an issue of bomb threats also. And if you look at the bomb threats, it was during a specific period. There were multiple instances before also. Once in a while, these were happening. But from 10th October to 24th November, there was sudden surge and so many threats happening on the social media, especially on Twitter, and some were through calls and all. So first thing I want to tell the House is that for us as a ministry, safety and security is the topmost priority. Now the threat can be a hoax threat or it can be a fake threat. But for us, once a threat is received, we have to follow the protocol, because we can't put any life at risk just based on assumptions or based on what we think the threat could be. So in that time, we have increased the security, overall surveillance, overall security measures that we need to take. On one step we have improved. And we have kept the mechanism very, very dynamic. So whatever we have learned while doing these threats, while addressing these threats, whatever good feedback that came in, through the ministry, through the BCAS, through MHA, through MITI, all these departments combined together, we have tried to address this problem as a dynamic situation. And overall, the flights, only 3.24 of the threats that were received, 3.24% of the flights only got diverted. So much of this thing we were able to address, and we were trying to get down the inconvenience faced by the passengers to the very minimum. That was one dynamic approach which we followed during the bomb threats. But I agree that this can't keep happening all the time. Now they can't keep taking advantage of this situation that we are going to check each and every plane whenever a threat is received, and they can't do all these hoax threats, because all the threats we received were hoax threats. We thoroughly followed the process, and nowhere we found that there was any real threat. But as we move forward, we understand that this couldn't follow, so we are making some legislative changes also on this. We have aircraft security rules, and through these aircraft security rules, what we are trying to bring in is a legislation change where whoever found guilty of doing this will be put under no-fly list. So this is one approach that we are taking, so at least it becomes a deterrent. Because 3 instances, we have found out that there have been 11 different IDs that have been used through social media, and the police, especially Mumbai police and Delhi police, they have made some attempts to catch some people also. And they have found out that one person who was going after this, he had some kind of personal grudge against the person who was flying on that flight. So for that reason, he puts in a threat on social media that there is a bomb on the plane. So with these kind of using it for very petty pranking styles, or just not understanding the whole seriousness about the air travel and the security that we follow, we don't want people to step into that direction of using the aviation sector as doing for these pranks. So to put a deterrent, we are changing the aircraft security rules and making the no-fly list for these people who do these kind of activities. And also there is another act. Now people have mentioned, why don't you put it in this act also? But under the civil aviation, we have another act, which is the Swastika Act, Safety Suppression of Unlawful Acts Against Safety of Civil Aviation. This is another act which specifically deals with these offences and unlawful activities regarding the plane. And we found that that can be strengthened a little bit. So we are going into amend that law. We are bringing in slightly more stringent laws into that act itself, which will address the concern that has been raised today. So in very quick time, we would like to bring it to the House also, so that the amendment that is proposed in the Swastika Act can also get passed, and that is regarding the bomb threats we are facing. And on top of that, there are some other, in the very beginning, Digi Yatra, privacy concerns, and it keeps coming under questions also, but I have to say that regarding the Digi Yatra, almost 3 crore people have used it till now. They find it very, very convenient, because what takes through the CISF security, what takes like 20 to 25 seconds, with the usage of this Digi Yatra, it becomes 5 seconds for them to cross gate to gate. And it has been put at multiple points. One is at the entry of the airport, then there is the security check-in and the boarding gate thing. So at these 3 points, we are using these Digi Yatra systems. And first and foremost, Digi Yatra is a totally voluntary system. It's not a mandatory that we are pushing it onto the people or the passengers. Whoever feels that it is convenient for me to use the Digi Yatra, only he gets to use it. And how do we address the privacy? There is a certain audit on this. There is a forensic audit which has been done, and everyone has pointed out that no privacy threat is being done by the Digi Yatra. And whatever the information that is stored in the Digi Yatra system, it gets purged. Once you use Digi Yatra, the whole information about the Aadhaar or whatever details you put in, it gets stored on your phone itself. It doesn't go to any other place. Only when you put in the boarding card, the airport gets notified that you're traveling through this airport at this time. So within a stipulated time, the information goes to the airport, so that when you reach the gate, the airport has that information. And once you cross and once you travel from that airport, the data gets purged in itself. So there is no place which stores all your data. And if there is a data threat that needs to happen, all the people who use Digi Yatra, all the phones need to be hacked. Now 800, so many phones, whoever Digi Yatra is using, they all need to be hacked consistently. But otherwise, there is no one place where all the Digi Yatra systems get, the data gets stored. So there is no privacy concern in that. And other than that, drones and advanced air mobility, I'm very happy that people are also seeing that aviation has many other sectors. Otherwise, people feel that we only deal with the airplanes. But whatever is there in the space, whatever utilizes the space, any kind of vehicle that utilizes the space, it all comes under the Ministry of Civil Aviation. And we have defined this thoroughly in the Act itself. And much of it, because this is a very robust industry, the rules need to be consistently changed, the airspaces, it's an international affair, and all of these coming together, then you need to have a very robust mechanism that somewhere, like I've said in the opening speech also, the International Civil Aviation Organization, which speaks with its under 193 member countries and continuously recommends us on what the protocols need to be, what the requirements need to be. So not every time once they say that, acha, ye karo, then I can't bring everything to the parliament. So we are bringing in the principal act, in the principal act itself, we are saying, let us have the authority to make these rules little more strongly. And once we do that, the rules can follow according to the recommendations that we receive. And just like how we have rules for the passengers, rules, safety requirements for the aircraft, similarly, we have made rules for the drones also, and we are stepping into making rules for advanced air mobility vehicles. And you'll all be very surprised and excited also within 1 year, because a lot of research is going into advanced air mobility. This is something which is very exciting for a country like India, where from the airport to coming into the city, when you're in these metro cities, everywhere you find this challenge. A small traffic jam and you're stuck for 1 hour or 2 hours coming home from the airport itself. And that is where these advanced air mobility vehicles, this is the electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles, which is going to be a new invention which is happening across the world, and people are building these prototypes and trying to form the rules around it. And India is not far behind. We have already said if you want to build a vertiport from where these vehicles need to take off, we have already, from the DGCA, we have designed the rules for that. And airworthiness of this aircraft that we are going to build, we have designed the rules for that. So step by step, whatever needs to be done, we are consistently speaking with the industry and forming the rules so that by 2026 in the beginning, when the industry says we have the vehicle ready so that we can use it, we are ready with the rules from the Ministry of Civil Aviation. So we are strongly pursuing that path. We have not left it behind. And if you say that it's not there present in the Act itself, according to the definition of the aircraft, it comes under this Act, and we are forming the rules subsequently so that all those things need to get addressed. And a lot of people have also mentioned about their local airports or the airports of the region. Some new airports, some need to be developed, some need the capacity augmentation, and so many other things. And to address each and individual one, it will be very difficult, but I assure each and every one, you can come and see me, you can discuss about your airport with me, I'll be available to meet, and everyone across the tables. Our intention is not to do politics with any airport. Our intention is to promote aviation and do the best to the people of this country so that everyone who aspires to be on that plane has a very convenient, affordable and accessible air travel. That is the thing. And one, out of my respect to our ex-Prime Minister, who is also here, and I should appreciate the commitment he has at this age also, coming here and sitting for so many hours, and for the reply and mentioning about the airport, that he is so passionate about the Hassan airport, and we are going to take it seriously from our side. It is an airport which is being developed with the help of the state government of Karnataka, and I've got the details regarding it, and it is the physical progress of the Hassan airport is up to 60.21% today. Financial progress is 56.51%, and the project completion date is April 2025. As a minister, I'll be constantly pursuing with the state government itself so that it gets done in the stipulated time. And your dream of having a very good airport in Hassan, not just for this thing, but for also catering for the demands of the farmers there, definitely we would want to make it a reality as early as possible, and from our side we'll provide all the support. And this goes without saying to all the members who have mentioned about airports also. Our intention is to make as many airports as possible, because now we see the aspirations have grown. Now, each and every district, earlier what used to be like the capital airport of a state, wherever the capital was there, people were expecting one airport there. But now I'm seeing that people, even though there is an airport within 100 and 150 kilometer radius, they feel like they are entitled to one airport in their own district itself. ये सोच में जो बदलाव आया, ये हमारे नरेंद्र मोदी जी से आया है कि हर जिले में every district can afford their own airport. It is with this movement that we have gone forward, and definitely we will keep continuing it, and all the requests that we are getting, we are going to do it. Now we have to also realize that building an airport, the ease with which we are doing it today, we might not be able to do it tomorrow, because the land availability will not be so easy. So whoever wants to build an airport, whoever wants to see an airport built in their space, they need to actively pursue with the state government. They need to get into discussion with them. They need to pursue the land. They need to capture.
Please.
Why?
Please.
No, you are traveling. Kerala has taken full. Kerala state has fully utilized the aviation sector like no other state. I appreciate all the efforts they have done. No other state has.
Please.
Let me speak, sir. No other state.
He's not
No other
yielding,
state No other state has 3 points of call. Only Kerala has it. And it is with respect to the people there who travel abroad for many things, we have given 3 points of call. Kannur also we have international thing. There is a strong request for points of call. And like you have said, we are not doing it by like and unlike of this thing. No points of call has been given, but we are thoroughly moving into that direction to see where else we have to do. Where else we have to do points of call. And definitely Kannur is a very important airport for us also. Whatever best needs to be done there, we will provide all the support based on what the state government is asking and the people's demands also. Definitely we will do the best from our side also so that the aspirations of the people there are met. I know it is a very important demand,
Dr.
but we have to collectively, we have to collectively look at all these things, sir. And overall, there are these kind of demands originating from other states also, and looking at the country as a whole. And how do we connect it with international sectors? Because a lot of the airports that we have built now have the international status also. They are requiring flights to start international all those things we'll collectively look at India as one big aviation hub, and then how to promote all these places. We'll take one considerable decision, and all the even if it feels that I haven't addressed any issue in particular, my team and I myself, we have noted down all the points, and I am going to reach out individually to all the people who have mentioned here and definitely make sure that each and every issue that has been mentioned through the bill is going to get addressed, sir. And we are really, really committed to take aviation to another level. One important closing comment that we want to make is we have been talking about a lot of the air traffic connectivity and how we bring more people into air travel network. But what we are really trying to address through the Act itself is how do we improve the job creation and economic activity also. The multiplier effect that we have in this is 1 rupee spent creates 3 rupees of economic activity. One job that we create in aviation creates up to 6 to 15 times jobs in the direct and indirect sector in aviation. That is the potential we have. And how do we tap into it? We create India as a state of design. We create India as a state of maintenance, as a state of manufacture. Once we get these terms flowing, once you get that mindset flowing, we will become the country where we can produce our own aircraft, not only for the domestic demands of the country, but we promote it so that other countries also come to us and buy aircraft which are made in India. That is the real Atmanirbhar Bharat that we want to address. And by that, we want to create more jobs in this sector, sir. And that is where the core ideology of this bill lies. And I'm sure that each and everyone appreciates this kind of mindset. And I'd like to thank each and everyone for all the support they have given in this bill. And I'm sure once this bill becomes an act, it is going to let us really fly and touch the skies in the aviation that India wants to reach. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.